government's play in investigating this this crash and supporting the affected people and their families?
Good afternoon from London. Obviously, our first thoughts and prayers are with those who have been affected and the families of those who must be anxiously waiting at Ahmedabad airport and in Gatwick to hear news. I'm very pleased that both the Indian government and Air India have put out emergency numbers for people to ring. There is a protocol that needs to be followed swiftly. People need to be able to ring someone to find out exactly what is happening. And that is usually the next of kin. And that information is gathered at the time you make your booking or at the time you check in at the airport. So the previous speaker is right. There has to be obviously an investigation as quickly as possible, because obviously there are airplanes going around the world and everyone wants to know what happened. But primarily for the relatives and for those who are suffering by what has happened, there needs to be an emergency contact which people can ring. There is one. I've just been in touch with the Indian High Commissioner in London. He has provided a lot of information which we will put out to the community so that they can ring and find out what's happening. I hope the British government has done the same, because as you say, there are 53 British nationals, and even those who are of Portuguese origin are more likely than not to be resident in the United Kingdom. We don't know for sure, but judging from a place like Leicester, where there is a large Gujarati community, we're often referred to as mini Gujarat. There are many people from the Daman and Diu communities there. So some of them are Portuguese passport holders, although they are Indian origin and they live in the United Kingdom. So now the key issue is people need to phone a number and get the information as quickly as possible.
And Sarwaz, I've also asked this question to our earlier guest, Captain Anil Gaur, but according to you, how might this crash affect India's aviation reputation in global perspective?
Yeah, I listened to the last bit of what the captain said. He's obviously very experienced in these matters, and it's not for me to second guess what he's saying. But the issue is plane crashes do occur. Traveling by plane is regarded as being one of the safest forms of transport. India has a great reputation, a massive reputation in terms of aviation. And people travel by Air India and all the airlines all the time. So let us not prejudge what has happened. He has said clearly there has to be an investigation. Of course there has to be, because this is an event that has been dominating the world news. It affects people. People have died. And therefore we need to know, we don't know exactly how many have been injured, what the fatalities are, but there is an assumption. So whatever the assumption, the key thing is there has to be contact with the relatives, and of course there has to be an investigation. But India has a very strong reputation for aviation travel, amongst the best in the world, and I think everyone would be keen to make sure this is investigated in the proper way in due time to provide the information that's necessary. But our first concern is the relatives and those who are suffering as a result of this crash, both the local people who are affected and those people who were on the aeroplane.
Thank you very much, Keith Vaz, for joining us.